Hello and welcome, my name is Haas, and this is more Hearthstone. I figured why not do a few more matches at the end of the season with the Dragon Mage deck. In case you haven't seen it though, I'd highly recommend you check out the deck guide first. I show all the statistics of the deck, go over every single card and the reason why they're in the deck. Of course do a few matches there as well. But either way, let's jump into a few matches and see how they go. And a Warlock, not the best class to go up against if you want to get back into top 500. Because Warlocks are probably the toughest class in general for this deck. We don't want anything out of this. In our opening hand we want Zombie Chows, Mad Scientists, Blackwing Technicians, early game cards. Although Flamestrike of course is very important if this is going to be Zoo, which it most likely is. Mad Scientist is very good, Polymorph is very good against Handlock, Big Game Hunter is very good against Handlock. Both of them still see play against Zoo though, against Morganis, against Dr. Boom. Or Polymorph is fantastic against the Doomguard. But we're about to find out. He's going to play something turn 1, so this is definitely Zoo. Argent Squire. You don't see that all the time in Zoo. Voidwalker. That's definitely Zoo. So we're just going to play Mad Scientist even though he can't trade with this. We have nothing else to do, turn 2. We could just ping something, but doesn't do much either. This way at least we make sure we don't draw into any secrets when the Mad Scientist dies. Haunted Creeper, is he going to trade? If he doesn't, then we get... He doesn't. So I guess it's a bit weird. We can get a free Voidwalker now. I guess he thinks we can actually do something at turn 3. If we would have been Tempo, which is also pretty likely, if we would have been Tempo Mage, then pinging at turn 2 would have been really bad, so I guess that's his thought process there. Now he does trade. And Ice Barrier. None of the secrets we have really have relevance against Zoo early on, so... But we don't draw into them anymore. We're not going to play the Big Game Hunter now, because we do actually have targets against the Zoo. So we're just going to kill the Squire. Zoo is about between 50 to 60% win rate. It depends a lot on, like, Flamestrike is going to be a crucial card. We have it really early on now, so we don't need to look for it. This is going to be Twilight Azure Drake, rather. Draw a card, put a 4/4 on the field, which you can probably easily remove. With Power Overwhelming, Implosion, which is worse. But again, we do have the Flamestrike for later. A very crucially placed Flamestrike will win this game. Power Overwhelming, there we go. Trades with the Azure Drake. Without losing much. And a Void Caller. And we draw into Duplicate. This is just going to be Sludge Belcher, which might kill some of his minions, but mainly it's just going to prolong the game, essentially. We want to keep going as long as we can. Whereas he wants to kill us quite quickly. He only has 3 cards, so he has to start tapping now. Not that it matters, because we don't have any actual burst to take him down if he taps too much. We play the long game every single time, essentially. Next turn we can Flamestrike. Although against the board he has right now, that doesn't seem fantastic. If we Flamestrike now, we remove 10 damage, but he gets an immediate, like, 3 plus whatever comes out of the Void Caller. So I don't think, right now I don't want to do Flamestrike yet. We have enough health, we're not in danger. We can put off from Flamestriking his board. And do it for a better turn later. So instead we're just going to do Dr. Boom, which is not a bad turn 7 play at all. Even though Flamestrike might look like an obvious choice here, I don't think it is. It just doesn't remove enough. And we want to be absolutely on point with our Flamestrikes against Zoo. We only have 2. But that's more than enough. And even if you could have more than 2, I don't think it would work in this deck, because that's pretty damn slow. Just gonna go for face. Well, not with the 1/1, he's probably gonna go for playing some more. See how the bombs fall. Well, takes out the Knife Juggler at least, that's pretty great. Twilight Drake is very good drop, but we do have a 7/6 on the board, and that Voidcaller is very scary. A 7/6 can trade with Morganis, it can kill without dying a Doomguard, so let's ping the 3/1 Voidcaller. Let's see what comes out of this Warlock's hand. That's a Doomguard. We can just Polymorph that, actually, because that's one of the few things we cannot use BGH on. Or rather, one of the big things we can't use BGH on. Most of his things can't be hit by BGH. Let's kill the... But if we kill the 2/4, it still puts a 1/1 on the field. I think I just want to kill the 1/1 Imp, so it can't get buffed up by any demon buffs. And he can't trade with what he has on the board right now for Dr. Boom. Well, if he has Implosion, then he can pretty much always trade. So if he has Morganis here, he does have enough to kill us, so I'm going to play the NTQ-Bot and the Twilight Drake. I don't think Flame Strike is worth it here, because all it does, he has, what, he has 7 damage on the field. If we do Flame Strike now, he still gets 3 damage more, so all it does is remove 4 damage. That's not really great for Flame Strike. Patience with your Flame Strikes. But I don't want to risk dying, so the NTQ-Bot, of course, is also a very solid body to start trading with his stuff. Another Voidcaller. And he actually trades himself. With all of it? That would be great. Defender of Argus, okay. And we're back down to 14. Again, I don't think Flame Strike does enough. I want to see what comes out of the Voidcaller. We still have enough mana after killing it to Flame Strike if it's a 2/4 or a 3/2. If it's a Doom, it's Morganis, fantastic, we can Big Game Hunter it. And we can just heal up, we're completely fine. Even if it was Doomguard, we could still heal up and be fine. Again, the Flame Strike just didn't remove enough, I think, for it to be worth it. But we could have, of course, still done it after killing the Voidcaller. This worked out fantastically. That's one of 2 targets that Zoo generally runs that Big Game Hunter can hit, the other being Dr. Boom. Morganis is gone now, not so eternal. It's a big swing. Implosion again. So now he has a full board. And this actually makes Flame Strike a very good moment to use. Because if we Flame Strike now, he's not going to get all that much out of it. We have 2 of them. He only gets 2 spiders because his board was full after the Imp Gang boss. Couldn't spawn an Imp. And now he's on 4 cards, 18 health, we're on 4 cards as well. We have another Flame Strike in case he again fills his board. Most of his big threats are gone. My shield for Argus. So very slowly, but steadily, we are dismantling this zoo. Which should lead us to victory. I think this is an excellent time for the second Flame Strike. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Kill the 1/3. Leaves him with 2 1/1s, one of which we can kill. We don't need to duplicate right now. So I think we've made pretty good use of our Flame Strikes, haven't used them too hastily. And used them at times where he couldn't just fill up his board again. Right after. That's the worst case scenario. If you just Flame Strike, he just doesn't care. Fills up his board again. And he does clear the 3/4 and avoid her, which is going to be a 6/4, which is sadly 7/4 rather. Sadly, not enough to survive the corruption of Blackwing. And then we might as well kill the 2/2 with the Frost Bolt, in case he buffs it up and kills our 5/4. And at this point, there's really... It's incredibly unlikely that Zoo can pull it back and win. He needs Dr. Boom to make a chance, I'd say. Doomguard would have been a pretty good one there as well. We can just drop Ysera. That's the most likely one that will lead us to victory here. We have enough to kill him next turn with Ysera. Didn't need to play Alexstrasza. So he has to remove these minions. Or at least one of them. Owl doesn't do anything. Power Overwhelming does do something, so he still lives one more turn. But what a sad life. With the 2-1 and nothing else. We can just... Doesn't matter what we do, really. Anything we play will give us lethal next turn. Ice block. Let's just ping the 2-1, kill the 4-4, make it the safest turn possible. Not going to play Ice block in case he runs Kazan Mystic. Anything could happen at this point. We've most likely won. Just being absolutely sure, as safe as I can. That was a zoo. Went pretty well. Let's do one more match. We don't want anything out of these cards in our opening hands. These are all pretty bad in our opening hand. We want like Mad Scientist, Twilight Drake, not Ice Barrier, not Anti-Killbot, Blackwing Technician. Those are very good cards in our opening hand. Blackwing Corruptor. So it looks like turn 2 we'll just play the Mad Scientist, even though it does trade favorably for him with the Acolyte of Pain. He does get more than one card out of that. It's a bit hard to avoid that with this deck, unless you have like Frostbolt. So we're just going to play the Mad Scientist right now. That way we're more likely to draw, well, not into more secrets, we already got one. Of course we wouldn't have pinged him either if we didn't play the Mad Scientist. Okay, he's just gonna kill it, so it doesn't matter. But if it's turn 2, you don't have anything to play against a warrior, I would recommend not pinging them. We got Ice Block. Because, I think I'll just play the Ice Barrier here. It doesn't really... Keeping it doesn't matter all that much in this situation. It's a very niche situation where you want to keep it for after they pop Ice Block. I'll just play it here because it's right on curve. But in most situations you don't want to ping their face with a Fire Blast, turn 2, because that enables Battle Rage. It could certainly matter. It's just going to hit face. Next turn is looking like a Blackwing, Twilight Drake rather. Although it is, doing so does mean we don't have an activator for Blackwing Corruptor anymore, but we're pretty likely to draw into another dragon. He does indeed attack, so we're on 35 health now. And then he just armors up. No Acolyte of Pain, that's quite good. Blackwing Technician. So that's not on curve, Twilight Drake is, but Twilight Drake is the only dragon in her hand, and it's only going to be a 4-5 in our current hand. So this is going to be a 3-5, which trades again as well with like the Acolyte of Pain, for instance. That's all we're looking for. So I'm just going to play the Blackwing Technician. Does about the same as the Twilight Drake in this situation. And if this gets removed, that's better than him removing Twilight Drakes. He uses Death's Bite. Is he going to follow this up with Inner Rage? Or is he just going to remove it in 2 turns? If it's Inner Rage, then he's definitely Patron. Nope. So anything we play, the Twilight Drake will be a 4-5 again. So anything we play will get removed next turn. He clears our board, sadly, because of the Death's Bite. So we're just going to play Azure Drake. Just a cycle, essentially. If this is Patron, we want to get those Flame Strikes as quickly as we can. If this is Control, we want to draw into Polymorphs and whatnot, so... He's gonna slam the Azure Drake, so... It definitely seems to be Patron, because he wants to get more card draw going right now. If he had hit the Azure Drake with the Death's Bite, he couldn't have slammed it, of course. Because it would have died. And the Armor Smith, yeah, this is probably Patron. Because it's a very inefficient way to actually use his cards, of course. He didn't need to slam, but he wanted that card draw. So that heavily indicates this is Patron. And he's gonna trade, as expected. Gets an armor. Polymorph. So we want to get Flame Strike. I think I'll just remove this with the Blackwing Corruptor. It does the perfect amount of damage to remove the Armorsmith. And it puts a 5/4 body on the field, which he has to remove, and that's kind of what you want to do against Patron. Make sure you have enough early pressure so they can't get free card draw. You want to start pressuring them. If they get amazing, like, Battle Rages, which they still might if they play their entire combo out. But you want to prevent them from getting a lot of card draw and then drop down an Emperor Thaurissan so they get a lot of discounts. It's a tough matchup in terms of actually playing it. Statistically, you are very likely to win with this deck, but actually playing it is rather intense. You have to play the right cards at the right time. You can't just wing it, basically. He's gonna armor up. That's it. So we keep our 5/4. This is looking to be just Mad Scientist and Twilight Drake. We're going to get either Duplicate or... No, we already used Iceberry, so it's definitely Duplicate. So Twilight Drake is quite nice to play in this scenario. We're going to do that first, of course, for the extra health, and then we'll play the Mad Scientist and just trade here. So once he kills the Mad Scientist, we're either going to get duplicated Twilight Drakes or duplicated Blackwing Corruptors. Both are very nice to get. And there's the first scary Acolyte of Pain. And he's going to hit it with a Taskmaster for card draw. Buffs it up, of course, but that is quite irrelevant. And play an Unstable Ghoul, so he's trying to get 3 card draw out of this Acolyte of Pain, which would be really bad for us. But we do have 2 Polymorphs in our hand now, so I'm going to almost definitely Polymorph one of the Acolyte of Pain, rather. If I hit it with Frostbolt, it will still get a card. So if I Polymorph it, it is essentially trading 1 card for 2 cards. That he doesn't draw, of course. So I'm going to Polymorph this. Yep. Then I'll just ping this and remove this. That kills the sheep, poor sheep, and then remove the Taskmaster, hit him in the face. Actually, I think I should have... We got Duplicate, of course. Either one of these duplicated is great, but I think I should have hit the Ghoul with the Twilight Drake. I think that would have been 1 less damage. Would have been a 4/4, I think. Not that it really matters. Death Bite. Either way, he removes the Twilight Drake, as you can see, if it was a 4 health or a 3 health minion. But we get duplicated Twilight Drakes, so more pressure for us to put on the board. Which is completely fine. And the second Acolyte of Pain. And an immediate Whirlwind. That's quite bad for us. So we cannot afford to use the second Polymorph on this, because we have to keep the Polymorph for Emperor Thaurissan. If he plays Emperor Thaurissan, we don't have a removal card, then we lose, basically. So I think in this scenario, killing it with Frostbolt only removes 1 card, in essence. I think I just want to play both Twilight Drakes for more pressure on the field. He cannot remove them with what he currently has on the board. And Frostbolt seems rather wasteful, because we can't play anything else if we Frostbolt, so I'm just going to play both Twilight Drakes. Now the big issue I can see happening here, we don't have any Flame Strikes in our hand. We have 2, of course, in the deck. We need them against Patron. This is definitely Patron that has been confirmed, well, also by Inner Rage here. But earlier the Engineer, he's gonna trade. Seems like a solid move. See if he plays any, like, Patrons with this. But one of these turns we will, of course, draw into Flame Strike, which will be fantastic. This is going to be a sheep. He is going to get a discount. And quite a lot of cards, sadly. And execute. So he's keeping the axe for a combo. Which is bad news for us. That is his last axe. If he would have used it, that would have been great. But he does get to keep it. So here we definitely want to polymorph the Emperor. Next turn, I have to start considering the amount of damage he can do with a combo now. He has discounts on all the cards in his hand, so he could play quite a bit. So Sludge Belcher is not going to be a good choice here, because he kills it with a weapon, and then it's a 1/2 on the field, which he gets more patrons off of. So I think I'll just polymorph ping it with Fire Blast and leave it at that. Seems like a really weak turn, but again, Sludge Belcher just wouldn't work here. We do have 10 damage, potentially, coming up. So, it'd be quite amazing if we actually take down the Patron Warrior before... Oh, here comes the combo. And we don't have Flame Strike. And a Frothing, that's quite bad. But we do have those 2 Frostbolts. We kept those around to remove the Warsong Commanders and the Frothings. Mostly. Because we don't have Flame Strike. Flame Strike, save us, please. Now, the good thing here, we have a lot of health. We're on 35. And he has run out of pretty much all of his cards right now. Although he could follow this up with a Battle Rage, which would be really bad. Hopefully he does not have that in his hand. Is unlikely at this point. Because he has been drawing a fair amount. Yeah, there's the Battle Rage, so he immediately gets a full hand again. Very annoying. But we're fine here. We have 2 anti-kill bots in our hand. We have 35 health right now. We can remove most of the damage that he has on board right now. Even though we don't have Flame Strike. See, we're on 11. It's fine. Zombie Chow, the most useless card in this matchup, probably. So I want to remove the Warsong Commander for sure, and the Frothing for sure. So we have a Frostbolt for the Frothing. And we have our good old Fire Blast for the Warsong, but then he still has enough to remove our Ice Block. Which is a problem. So I'm just gonna Frostbolt this. So the question is, I could do Sludge here, he trades with it with 2 Patrons, and then he gets 1 extra from the 1-2 Slime. Or we could do Anti-Keelbot, we go up to 19. And we remove no Patrons. I think I want to keep the Antiques for after the Ice Block. So I think I want to do Sludge Belcher here and not Anti-Keelbot. Yeah, let's just do Sludge. We're not going to play the Zombie Chow because he can just trade with that with the Patrons. Now he is very low on cards remaining, so as long as we can just sustain all the burst that he's about to do. He did use 1 Warsong Commander and 1 Frothing right now. Those are the biggest threats. These Patrons on their own, as long as he doesn't play another Warsong, they're not going to do that much. Fiery War Axe. So this is one of those things. I've been playing this match now, and I don't know if I've made any crucial mistakes against Patron. You really have to be alert against the Patron Warrior. Again, statistically, it's like 70% that you'll win against them, but it's a tough matchup. You have to think a lot about every move you do, and you have to ideally calculate what kind of damage they can do. Haven't had all that much time for that. Sadly, he does get that 3 extra damage, and he's 1 off right now, I think, right, from popping the Ice Block. Yeah. Never mind. That's a very heroic Unstable Ghoul. Okay, so this has quickly gone haywire. And there's finally Flame Strike. Now we should have drawn into Flame Strike. It's an amazing top deck right now, but we should have drawn into Flame Strike earlier, let's be honest here. So this seems like an easy Flame Strike. Would I mean, I could pop the War Song and heal up. No, that wouldn't save us. So this is just going to be Flame Strike, of course. Which is right on cue. A bit earlier would have been great. But actually, this is probably perfect. We can Frostbolt his face, so he can't actually kill us. He used both War Songs. He is out of charge burst potential. This is what you want against a Patron Warrior, essentially. You know he can't really kill you, unless he's using Grommash, but his Unstable Ghouls, for instance, indicate that he probably doesn't have Grommash in this deck. This is not an ideal match against Patron by any stretch of the imagination. But it is what it is. We'll make do. I think we have a very good shot at winning here. Unless he runs Grommash, I think we basically won at this point. And again, I don't think he has Grommash. Battle Rage for 1. Not too bad. Armor up. Is that gonna be it? Okay, so we can heal up again. Go up to 17. Or do we just want to play the Sludge? The Sludge would protect our Zombie Chow. So I think I want to play Sludge to protect the Zombie Chow, which can help us trade against other things. Again, he doesn't have any charge minions anymore in this deck. In his deck. So we're in no danger. He's going to slam it and then remove it. Not sure what he's looking for. Also, Dread Corsairs, he definitely doesn't run Gramash in this deck. So that's the last Frothing, which we can remove with what we have on the board. And Emperor Thorazan. So, okay, playing Thorazan is better, but I don't want to risk it at this point. I'm just going to play... to trade this, of course. And then I'll play the Antique Healbot. Even though Thorazan, I think, is a much better play. I just don't want to risk it right now. Either way, we're going to win, unless he does something spectacular. In that case, I suppose I better be at 17 health than have a better minion on the board that trades with his 3-2. Yeah, so Thorazan would have been better, but doesn't matter. Just gonna kill his Grim Patron, and then just play everything. And just wait for him to concede, because there's no way he can kill us. And there we go, long matches. My name has been Huss, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.